Well, hello there. Short talk in the park with the old guy. See, this time we really are in the park, so I get to use the phrase and not feel even a little guilty about that. It's one of my favorite colors for cars right there. There's an orange, it's almost got like a brown tint to it. I don't know what that color is called, but it's called Mike's favorite almost. Yeah, I thought I'd come down here and just sit down at the table, discuss a few things with you guys. It's a Saturday morning. Went down, had some breakfast, and I was going to take a walk by the Rio, and I want to let you see the skies overhead a little bit. This is I don't know what these things are called, but the cloud cover about an hour and a half ago was a little bit thicker, quite a bit thicker. I couldn't see the sun at all, and the wind was prevailing in from the west, and I just thought, ooh, kind of chilly out here. So I decided to skip taking a walk, and I thought, well, how's about instead I go home? Well, by the time I got home, I had to do a little shopping, and I had to go to the bank and whatnot, and anyhow, got to the point where I said to myself, I'm going home. Oh my gosh, look what I found. Ugh. Now there's a paperweight for you. I'm going to use this as my holder upperizer, the glorious evergreen of Gomez Garden right in front of you. And let's see here. We're getting all technical here. Oh yeah, look at this. This guy, I tell you what, who needs special effects when we got this guy around here? Call it the rock that won't stay still. Okay, well, almost got it. Getting close. Well, it's good to see you again. Come on in, sit down. You're welcome here. Smoking my favorite Marlboros again, but I've been pretty good for the last week and a half at least. I've kind of made it a little ritual in the mornings. When I'm at work, I'll take a pack, if it's a new pack, and I'll pull about 10 cigarettes out and stick them in the car at the shop. So I'm 10 miles away. I can't smoke those now, can I? So I'll allow myself 10 cigarettes or something like that, maybe 12, during an 8-hour shift at work. And so my goal is to come back with at least 2 or 3 in my pocket. And I've been doing pretty good this week. So I'm trying to cut down on these. You'll notice my voice is always harsh and gnarly. Well, there's reasons for that. And, I know smoking ain't good for you. I used to get on my old mom about it when I was a kid. I was a regular nag back then. About, Mom, you should really quit smoking. This stuff's killing you. Yeah, but I like them. I just became my mom. She and I were different, of course, and similar in many ways. She had a real fun, rowdy sense of humor. And she was also had a lot of issues that, all people do. And so anyway, just wanted to talk with you today. I found out, by the way, the other day that people like you and me have a name. Besides being the bad guys, besides being enemy number one, public enemy number one, they're beginning to designate now that anyone who believes, say, the Bible, who trusts Jesus, who could buy into in good faith, say, the Apostles' Creed or the Nicene Creed or something like that, not only are we Christians, that's bad, but we're Christian nationalists. Much worse, far worse, scary, downright scary. But then on top of that, here's the boot. Here's the one that kicks it right through the goalposts. Rural. I'm a rural Christian nationalist by their description. And boy, am I a rowdy, hateful guy. Ooh, a big troublemaker. Could be ending democracy as we know it. A one-band party that is trying to overthrow reality. Wait a minute, that's what you guys are doing. So we're right in the middle of a coup d'etat kind of thing, except it's happening in slow motion. And in my opinion, the coup, if you can think of taking a big old elephant down, say a huge elephant, and all you got is, say, a 30-06 or something, ping, you shoot the element. If it's a good shot, It might take them down, but maybe in an hour, hour and a half. In other words, as the animal bleeds out or something. I know it's getting gross. But in other words, for a large animal to bleed out from a small weapon, it might take some time. So even though, let's say the elephant received the fatal shot at 3:06 p.m., it didn't go down until 5:30 when it finally ran out of energy. Well, the original 30-06, the original round went right through the of you know who in 22 November of '63. That, in my opinion, now I was just a little kid at the time and I didn't understand what was going on really, but I knew something bad had happened, and I knew the president had been killed. But it's one of those things where when that's one of the big shaping events of your life, it's like, well, this is what our world's like. We take bright, upcoming stars who show promise and perhaps courage and integrity and make them go away. And that's the modus operandi of ours, as they call it, the ruling elite, the deep state, the ones holding the fingers above the strings for the puppets. And so it leads right back to a demonic analysis. In other words, it's just as the apostle taught, it's just as the scriptures proclaim, that this world does have demons in it. They're here. They're real. And they're entities that mean you no good. They mean to enslave and kill you. They hate you because you're human, because you were made in the image of God. And you have a high place in the regard of God the Father, God the Son, God the one true God. He cares about you deeply because the image is in you. Well, that makes you now rural besides that, because so apparently I got to thinking about it. So, well, what's the opposite? Who's on the other side of this team? Well, then you got your urban, that would be non-rural. Urban, you got your pagan or neo-pagan, really, because in my opinion, C.S. Lewis got it right, that once upon a time there was paganism in this world, in Europe and in Asia and in Africa, and really all over, and it was the ruler of the day. In a sense, God was very gracious and kind and overlooked those grievous sins of paganism, sacrifice to children and interaction with the spirits and whatnot. He overlooked that and forgave these sinners. But you cannot have a true revival of paganism now, because it's clear and it's obvious that those ancient gods, which, by the way, still exist and are being summoned anew back into this world again by wretched human creatures who've been enslaved in the occult, we believe. That makes you now rural. So the opposite is urban pagan, but neo-pagan really. Because as you become a pagan again and you want to set up an altar to Baal or Molech or Ashtoreth or any of that junk, you already know better. You already know better. You're dealing with the enemy. You're making a deal with the devil. So you can't actually have paganism again, but you can have neo-paganism, like that grotesque service they had at some sports event in Britain a year or two ago. Oh, you've probably seen it. Prince, what's his face there? Or King Chucky, or whatever his name is. I think King Chuck was there. And, oh gosh, it was ugly. But that's what they're building. They're building, they want to call it paganism again, but it's more than that, or actually significantly less than that. So you got urban, pagan. Now what's missing here? We had the rural Christian nationalists. Oh, I know. The nation goes away. The nation state goes away. And you have a global governance. This is the brainwave. This is their coup d'etat. This is their brilliant operation to syncretize and harmonize and consume down to one central point of authority, global control of everything, including data, including, well, frankly, whether you live or die. They are internationalists, and so this cadre of fools, which appears to be profoundly, almost impossibly incompetent and corrupt, currently at the helm, they are essentially agents who are seeing to it that individual nations per se, like the nation called US of A, the nation called Canada, the nation called Mexico in North America, well, there's other countries in North America, but by then you're talking about Central America, so I don't want to get too confounded. But the point is that when you have internationalists, their whole idea is to ruin national barriers, to so fudge them up and confound them as to make one global governance more preferably through regions rather than nations, and preferably a region that doesn't have a name like Region 3 or Region 6 or something like that. I don't know if they're going there. But the point is that I just got to thinking about it. If you're the bad guy, if I'm the bad guy, by being in favor of God and decency and honor and courage and carrying through on your word. These liars in D.C. now swore with their hand on a Bible to uphold the law, to fulfill their oath, to govern according to the documents we have. They lied. Plain and simple. And it's a slow motion coup d'etat. So when the bullet strikes the elephant, it takes 3 hours to go down maybe. The bullet strikes John, and 70 years later, the elephant's going down, called the empire. And this time it's taking the money structures with it. It's taking, everything's going to go up in the air. It's going to be crazy. Probably the power grid go down, probably the internet go bye-bye for a little while. But the demand, the scream for the restoration to normalcy, we must have law and order again, this madness, this chaos, as the darkness descends. When the lights go out, let me tell you, the police ain't going to be able to stop the problems. No, especially in urban areas. Now, in the rural areas, it's a different story. But the urban areas are going to be in some, well, guess where most people live? I mean, numerically, statistically. They live in these huge megalopolis areas, where one city ends and another begins. How can you tell? Because you just drove by the sign. It says so. You're now in Fort Worth. But the point is that the growth of these monstrous cities, that's where a lot of the problems are occurring right now, isn't it? Take a look at what's going on in Portland and Seattle and whatever they're doing with these zones where they're trying to chase the police away. Oh, it's really worked marvelously well so far, especially for property values. And nobody sees this as a form of theft. If I came in and I said to you, in San Francisco, hey, you guys got some prime property here. Things are looking good. Your business is humming right along. I can see you're successful. How much would it take for me to buy you out right now? Lock, stock, and barrel. Oh, well, $26 million. We'll come back in 2 years. You'll sell it me for $14.82. Because the frontage becomes untenable. You can't get foot traffic in and out. People will refuse to go to that area. They will not shop there. They will not even drive their car there. That's what you're building. So guess what? You got grand theft. That property that was valued at XYZ million is now being sold for pennies on the dollar. Real estate boom, if you happen to have money and know when to buy, eh? This is what the sort of things they're building. It's just grotesque. And so as a rural Christian nationalist, I can let the nationalist thing stay okay. I swore an oath once upon a time during the USAF to defend this nation against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I don't recall any clause in there where I said, oh, by the way, I give up on my oath now. But I'm not going to take up arms against the government either. But I can at least open my mouth and say the truth. Liars, frauds, sexual perverts, all of these things, cowards, murderers, extortioners, propagandists, and sorcerers, all of these occult practices that are going on, the Bible has made it clear what happens to people who pursue a path along those lines. You are going to inherit destruction at the hands of the Father, executed through the fury of the Son in person. Don't go there. You can't survive that. No human could. No devil could either. They know their days are done soon. The judgment is coming, and they'll be sent away forever. But their goal is to steal as many humans as they can away from the fathers, just to kind of one last slap in the face. Yeah, see, I got you, pal. But the Father has known his own from before the foundation of things. Before the world existed, he decreed what shall be, and what shall be, what shall be. That sounds like an old Doris Day song, so don't get confounded. What I'm getting at is this. The things that we're seeing are not a fluke, they're not an accident, they're not a freak. If we're viewing history, then we're viewing what's real. He controls what is real, and he has decreed beforehand what shall be. And so as things go down, well, the prophecies shall be fulfilled. How else shall they be fulfilled? If dark days are foreseen, then dark days must come prior to the Messiah. And I'm asking then for courage. I'm asking for endurance. I'm asking for wisdom from the Father, not only for me, but for you. We're going to need help to make it through this, because friends and family will turn on you. Your own church will turn on you. Your neighbors will, rat you out. One of the big things that they had going on down that fiasco in 2020 had to do with people ratting out their neighbors. They invented a new word, I think, called Karens, a Karen. So a Karen would call up and say, well, I think my neighbor across the street has not been, taking potent doses of certain chemicals, which in due time would kill him. And so therefore that's a crime. And so they were ratting out people who wouldn't take the and get paid for it. Well, that kind of stuff is coming. Same thing. If you can rat out somebody and make money in the process, after a while, anybody's worth ratting out. I mean, the thing devours itself. The thing you need to know as a Christian believer is that the enemy, yes, he hates God. Yes, he hates the righteous. Yes, he hates the truth. Yes, he hates the scriptures. But truth be told, they can't stand each other either. They hate each other as much as they hate the Father, if that's possible. All they are is darkened spirits, ex-angels who've become wrecks. They're no longer really a true person at all. They've been broken on the inside permanently. And now all they have left is malice and insanity and wickedness. And so he's shearing his people off from those wrecks and reuniting them through the Son by the word of faith as they hear his gospel. So go read the 66. Sit down, read the Bible. And if you can't read, get on this algorithm. They'll read it to you aloud. And if you get ambitious, you could sit down and speed it up a little bit and listen to a whole book at once. Hey, I listened to the book of, something today. Do things like that. Put clean sounds in your ears. Wash your ears out with the Word of God. Spend time searching for and seeking out His presence, because it is excellent and good indeed. So, as we enter the marathon of life, as things get a little weird, we want, hey, how can I make this happen? How can we last right up to the end? Well, I don't know. What am I, a gypsy fortune teller? But I can tell you this: if you're self-controlled, if you're at peace with your family, if you're at peace with your God, as you walk through life, you will make your decisions in a manner differently than if you're scared that I might lose something or I might lose everything. If it's a strategy of trying to restrain the damage and not lose too much personally and hold on to my something, he who would save his life shall lose it, says the Master, and he who loses his life for my sake and for the sake of the gospel shall inherit it unto everlasting days. And so that's our aim. When surrounded by the big bad old globalist urban pagans, the globalist urban pagans, that's actually a pretty good summary. And we refuse their nonsense and blather and lies and their transhumanist indoctrination, then that brands you and me as enemies of the system. We're the trouble. And the trouble's coming from the country, and the trouble's coming from the nation, and the trouble's coming from the believers, and they know it. And you have more power than they. We have more power than they. Not us, but Christ in us. He is supreme over all, and he shall not be knocked down. He's winning this race, and he's expanding his kingdom right up to the very end. He's hijacking souls off that rat Every day. Every day the enemy's losing souls to Jesus. Why? Because they heard the word from heaven. What word? The news. What news? The kingdom. That place where it's blessed. You think of heaven. Now, think of our ancestors here. I'm going to flip the camera here. About this a little while ago, so I don't want to wear you out with it. But take a look at these clouds here. I guess those are stratus, probably. Yeah. Don't think they're cirrus. But anyway, they were quite a bit thicker earlier. Now, this is the brightest I've seen the sun all morning. It's kind of nice to have that UV light. I like that warm. Oh, yeah, that's nice. But if you can imagine looking up at the bottom of those kind of like frosting on a cake upside down or something like that. Or I was thinking, what if you were a fish and you were in the water and you looked up at the top of the water, that curlicue thing above you? What is that? It's always moving up there. Wonder what's on the other side of that. Why, it's another world. A world in air, not water. Ooh, who knew that was there? So our ancestors believed that heaven was fundamentally up, above us. Why? Well, I don't know, but at least it might have had something to do with clouds. In other words, it would be suggestive to say, yeah, that does look a little bit like the top of a wave top as viewed from the bottom, a little. What's above the clouds? What's on the other side? Well, there's another world. Now, we would call it the vacuum of space, and it's deadly. But the idea is, the Bible's not talking about vacuums and voids and black holes up there. The Bible's talking about the domain of God. They call it the heaven, or even the heaven of heavens. That's where God is. But see, the thing that you got to understand is his name is holy. And when I say holy, we don't know what that word means, do we? Vaguely think religiously that there ought to be some bowing and scraping going on at some point here. What does the word holy even imply? And I believe it's linked up with his name. Think of the constitutional reality of is, was, and shall be. The fact that things actually happen. This is happening to you right now. You're watching this video, and you're sitting down or standing up. Maybe you're standing on your head. I don't know. But the point is, there's real things that actually do happen. How do they cohere? How is it that they actually do happen? Well, there's he who is, and his name comes out as I am that am, or I am he who is one translation. I be is my version. I is. In other words, because he is, everything else is. And so one of the basic disjuncts inside Christian thinking is the creator disjunct. Anyone, especially a coming Antichrist, who says that you can bridge that link from here. Remember the lie told to our parents, you will be like God? You can bridge the link from down here. You, the creature, can ascend and achieve divine godhoodness, as it were, at a price. And the price is not only too high, it's frankly insane. The Christian belief is that there's a distinction to be made. The creation, the real things we see around us here, this air, this water, this trees, this earth, this me, and everybody else, it's real. But we didn't make it real. But he exists whether this exists or not. In other words, there was a time, so to speak, before time, which gets a little confusing to consider. But primarily the idea being, at one point, there really was nothing. Essentially a void, whatever a void is. And now there's everything. Why? What changed? What caused that to happen? He spoke. And in his speaking, all things come to be. He is the God who is behind the existence of is, was, and shall be. That's linked to the name holy. Holy, holy, holy is the name. And what do they say in the book of the Revelation? Holy, 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 you who were and are and ever shall be. He who was and is and ever shall be. He is holy and his name is holy. It has to do with the idea of transcendence. Transcending means, and it's a little bit hard to explain. I used to describe it to the Sunday school kids years ago. I'd say, well, it's like this. Imagine the world's largest hefty bag. I mean, hefty. Big, big bag. So big that you could encapsulate the entire known universe, all of it. That's one big bag. Guess what? He's on the outside of the bag. And he's operating inside the bag. He's operating so closely inside the bag that he's actually in your heart. Now that's close. You're getting kind of cozy in here. So the thing is we want to think about it this way. In terms of his holiness, we're calling upon transcending power. He who steps into his own creation to become one of his own creatures. Now that's hard for us to fathom. And I've compared it before to Mark Twain writing himself into one of his own novels, or J.R.R. Tolkien doing a little bit part in the Lord of the Rings. Hey, who's that guy in the corner? Why, it's the author. He wrote himself into his own story. And from there, our confidence is built not upon some, fear of, disappointing someone or not measuring up or something. Our confidence is built the fact that he can't fail and he never lies. And so he's come to his own and he speaks to us and he delivers the news. That kingdom that you've been waiting for, that kingdom that was announced beforehand, it showed up. It's here with you. It's in you. It's among you. It's begun. The new creation has begun in our hearts. We have experienced some new resurrection power in our lives, which we cannot explain, but we're awfully thankful for. We did ask for it under teaching. We were told to ask for it, and out of faith, because that's why he came, to deliver that gift. It'd be like having the UPS guy. He had to travel overland, 123 miles to get to your house, and he had to get out and hike 15 miles and get on a mule and whatever. All the delivery of a package. I mean, he shows up at the door. It's like nobody's home. You just keep yelling at him. Nobody's home. That's how we treat our Maker, and yet he barges right in. He says, I'm moving in here. And the place he moves, he brings the sweet smell of springtime and renewal, and he knows what it is to be both glad and sad. He's the master of both low and high and right and left. All things meet in him, and all things can make peace with him, so that if you're really over here on one side, I'm Mr. Masculine and I'm Ms. Feminine over here, and however else we want to divide ourselves, color, race, intelligence, where you were born, when you were born, however you want to divide up yourselves, he becomes the center of a new and living thing. A new humanity is being built, in which, now this is interesting, they keep talking about a one world unity. We'll get a hold of this. We're going to have a one age unified church. All the believers, all the way back, I hope to see Adam and his lovely wife, our mom there, Eve. All the believers, all the way through history, stood up at once and reunited in human bodies with their master, their Lord, and frankly, their new Savior husband. The creature called Eve is just a hint of what's going to be made again. The new Eve, we'll call her, is the church. And boy, she's going to be a doozy, a real Lulu. We'll talk about a looker, but also very, very interesting to talk to, because it's a union of personalities. It's a little bit like, the original union of personalities, the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. Is there three gods? No. Is there three persons? Yes. And the church has been consistent on this, and it's the source of a lot of sanity, by the way, in the church, that she just inherited by believing the word. She didn't get smart and then deduce the doctrine of Trinity. No, she pronounced the doctrine of Trinity and got smart later. That's the way he works. He plants his word in our hearts. He changes us from the inside by convincing us that he transcends our world. He is bigger than anything, and he can change anything, and he can roll back any tide. And yet I don't ask him to end these dark days, because how else shall Scripture be fulfilled? It's necessary that the wicked rise up. It's necessary that the man of sin be revealed. It's necessary that the abomination of desolation come. Do I want to see them come? Of course not. How could any living human being want to see that vile garbage appear? And yet it must appear prior to the coming. I say, even so, come Lord Jesus. Come hell and come high water, whether I live or whether I die. I want to see you sitting on your throne, glorious, powerful, unchallenged. Finally, a kingdom, a world at peace in you. That's how things are going to come down. Be strong, be faithful, be confident. Why? Because that's what's really going to happen. Doesn't even matter whether you like it. Can't change it. He will govern all, and his people will rejoice because of it, because they will see his excellence and his goodness on display. So go treat people that way today. You got a dose of it? Give some of that. Don't cost you nothing, cheapskate. Have a good day.